Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3 Under Par podcast. This is a golf podcast where
Little White Ball is live.
I'm your host, Scotty T, and I'm joined by my co-host, T-Bone over there, and KJ down below, who's in a disclosed remote location. KJ, how's it going, man?
Oh, I'm doing it.
T-Bone, how about you? For those who are on Zoom, KJ's obviously on the road. That's why it says Galaxy S9 on the whenever he talks. But T-Bone is rocking that winged foot background on Zoom.
You said it a lot more pleasantly than I was going to. I was going to say I'm just absolutely shatting on him visually. He's got Galaxy S9, and I've got the beautiful winged foot clubhouse, perfectly manicured fairway. Oh, there's Galaxy S9. He's back.
Give it a break. It's a work phone. It's a work phone.
Oh, man.
Fair enough.
So we took the last week off, but we're back a day late than usual. Thank you for everybody for being patient with us because we have a very special guest that is joining us on the back half of this episode. So we got a lot to talk about, boys. So we were joined for this episode by Reid Fowler of DraftKings. He specializes in golf and NFL coverage. Obviously, DraftKings, if you're in the gambling scene, they're a very popular website, app, sportsbook, where they give a bunch of odds. So me and him talked for pretty much close to 30 minutes earlier today, talking to all about the U.S. Open. And I got to tell you right out the front, he gives an all-time story. An all-time story. Scaff and Kyle, y'all got to listen to this one whenever I drop it because they haven't listened to it yet. And pretty much, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's an all-time U.S. Open moment that he was there to be for. So, and it happened to coincide with Winged Foot. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to put the timestamps in the description below so you can check out not only our previews, but also that interview with Reid, which was awesome. So thanks a lot, Reid, for coming on. Really appreciate you. So, Scaff and Kyle, how's it going, boys? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Games looking okay?
No. No.
Mine better be looking okay because I'm about to fly to South Carolina to play some golf, Kiawa Island style. So, playing the ocean course, which my game better be in gear in about 48 hours or I'm going to be in trouble.
See, that's the thing. We can get T-Bone to shoot 72, or we can get T-Bone to shoot 88. Like, we just don't know. It's a toss of a coin at this point.
I think the coin is a little heavier weighted on one side since we're playing the ocean course at Kiawa. So we can lean towards the 88. But, yeah, golf fever is high right now. U.S. Open, golf trip coming up. Let's go, baby. I love it.
What are we going to put the line at, Scotty? I think we put the line at 86.
I was thinking 86 or 87.
Yeah.
I like 86. Scaff, are you going to take the over or under?
If he plays well, it's still not going to be low because it's the ocean course. So that gives us a little more leeway to move it up to 86, I think.
Yeah,
I think so.
Depends on the tees, too. Some guys are talking about playing the tournament tees, which just seems like not a good idea. But we'll figure it out.
Man.
I think that's an accurate line, though.
Well, I'm sure T-Bone is going to be all over our social media handles, which is why you need to check them out at 3 Under Par Pod. That is the number 3 Under Par Pod, because T-Bone's going to be playing the site of next year's PGA Championship, Kiawa Island, the ocean course. And you know what, KJ, now I'm thinking about it, Scaff, I'm sorry, but I don't know if you might break 90. It depends on it depends on what tees you play. That's a big thing. I mean, our friend Drew, friend of the show, was out there a few weeks ago, I think. So
I think tip 90 is a good line.
Oh,
so
absolutely. I'm not even going to fight that. Yes.
Send the DMs. Send us an email, which is also in the description below, on what you think T-Bone is going to do. T-Bone, if you don't break 90 out there, we need some form of punishment, man, whether it be caddy bib or I don't know what it's got to be, or maybe you just owe me and Kyle a sleeve of Pro V1s. It could be something simple. I mean, I'll take those.
I mean, that's hard to put up that argument since you sent out about 15 boxes of Pro V1s. So
yeah, no kidding.
We could maybe come up with something.
Thank you, everybody, for writing those reviews. Well, I don't like you, Kyle, so that's why.
Well, that's a fair statement.
Fellas, we got a lot to talk about. Let's dive into it. Since we missed last week, I want to talk about this for just a couple minutes, and then we'll talk all U.S. Open, because it's crazy to think that we are in the middle of September and a major championship golf tournament is about to go down at Winged Foot. Let's touch on the Tour Championship, though, real quick. I don't really have much else to say besides DJ is just playing some incredible golf. East Lake turned out to be pretty good. I watched a little bit of it, not as much. I just felt like it wasn't as engaging this year for some reason. But, congrats to DJ for winning the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup. What are y'all's thoughts, or do y'all really have any thoughts that you think that's worth sharing on the Tour Championship?
Well, I think the main thing is looking at momentum, right? You're coming into U.S. Open, and DJ's stats for the last 5 tournaments or 4 tournaments are just stupid, like absolutely stupid. The guy's just on a tear. I don't know how you can't be like the most positive you've ever been in your career with his last 4 tournaments. So I think it's a huge stepping stone, knowing he can win with the best, not like he's ever had that issue. But I bet he's just going into this feeling like on top of the mountain right now.
Definitely. His run in the FedEx Cup playoffs was pretty incredible. He shot 30 under at TPC Boston for the Northern Trust. I forget what course they played, but the BMW, which was carnage, he finished second. That's only because Jon Rahm made that just bomb of a putt. And then he won the tournament at East Lake. This is almost vintage 2017 Dustin Johnson that we are seeing here. Just stay away from stairs. And I think he's obviously the betting favorite at the U.S. Open, but just stay away from stairs. But T-Bone, what do you think about DJ's run in the FedEx Cup?
It was pretty incredible. Going into the final tournament, I think he was the favorite. But as we talked about, having that basically sleeping on the lead before the tournament starts, it's already added pressure. And it's almost like those shots are an advantage, but they're just as much a disadvantage, just adding added pressure before the tournament starts. So incredible. He's a stud, and I think we just forget about it because of, other Rahm's putt or, just things that happen to DJ are so funny that we always forget about how good he is.
No doubt. And the way that the Tour Championship is set up, I was thinking about it, he's supposed to win. Like him playing all that incredible golf leading up to the tournament, he's supposed to have that advantage. So, JT last year lost it after day 1. So, it's set up for him to win. He took advantage of that. Again, it didn't necessarily – I watched a little bit of it, but that's because I've been out to East Lake. I was there when Spieth won in 2015. No big deal. It's fine. Actually got a funny story about that, T-Bone. I'll tell you later. I saw Will from college just like on the – at that time it was 10 green. It was one it's now number 1. And I just saw him walk around the corner, him and Kramer Hickok, friend of the show. And I was like, Will, what are you doing here? He's like, I woke up in Waco this morning, but we decided to come out and watch Spieth. Like, oh, okay. And then we're in Atlanta, whatever. So I digress. Point is, though, I think DJ, it's almost like icing on the cake for a Hall of Fame career. I think people assumed he was going to be a Hall of Fame career, but whenever he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, they're going to be able to say he won the Tour Championship, Player of the Year, FedEx Cup. Yeah, you talk like us as fans, we talk more about majors, but whenever he goes into the Hall of Fame, winning a Players Championship, winning the FedEx Cup, it's just icing on the cake, I think, to an already Hall of Fame career. So unless there's anything else that y'all would like to add, I think we should move on to the hot ticket item, the U.S. Open. Are y'all good with that?
Yep.
Love it.
Okay.
Ready to rock and roll.
Okay, U.S. Open talk. Boom. I'm pumped, especially after talking to Reid this morning. Reid Fowler, no big deal from DraftKings. I'm fired up about this U.S. Open. I think it is going to be absolute carnage. It's going to be chaos. I'm seeing the videos on social media of guys dropping balls down on the rough to see how long it is. I'm here for it. I love it. The U.S. Open, look, again, I don't love the USGA, but The U.S. Open is here. I'll take any like major championship live sporting event at this point, considering we went months with nothing. Hughes Eggs, give me the U.S. Open. I'm excited for y'all. How pumped are y'all for this U.S. Open?
I'd say it's almost like a normal Masters because we've had that drought of no majors, and it really just feels way better than any other U.S. Open, just because it's at Winged Foot. I think it has more history. Everybody remembers Phil, famous Phil on 18, and I mean I'm stoked for it. I'm probably not going to be very productive this week. Come Thursday and Friday, I guarantee you that.
No doubt. T-Bone.
Yeah, it's just very, very good golf energy heading into this week. And I think one thing that golf fans love is seeing the pros just hack it up. And
Yep.
I think we're going to get that this week. You've seen comments from JT. I think he said it's the hardest course he's ever seen. And I want to say he mentioned that he thinks like 6 over is going to win the tournament. That is entertaining. I saw someone had placed a bet on Byung-Un An and said, threw some cash down on him and said, got a good feeling about this guy this week. And he actually responded and he said, but I shot 8 over on the back nine today. So like there is going to be some nasty scores out there. And I love that because I feel like, the last few years of the U.S. Open, at least it feels like at the top of my head, it feels like it's been a while since we've had an even par or even over par score. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. KJ, you said it best. Winged Foot, and I talked a little bit about this with Reid on the back end of the episode, but Winged Foot's one of those classic U.S. Open venues, but nobody really knows much about it. You go to Shinnecock, you know about that, especially Pebble Beach last year. You go to Bethpage Black, we know about that course as well. There's like a rotation in Oakmont. We know a lot about Oakmont. But Winged Foot, it's only hosted the U.S. Open, I think, 5 or 6 times. Last time was 06, plus 5-1 that year. Phil famously, quote, lost it with that just 4 left. Gosh, talking about hitting off the face of the planet. Golly.
That's so far left. And that's coming from a guy who hooks the shit out of the golf ball. That is so far left.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, it was bad. And credit to Phil. What did he say on social media? Did you see his tweet, Scaff?
Yeah.
Man, I wish I had a 3-shot lead this year because somebody placed a pretty high bet on him.
No, I said, better hope I have a 3-shot lead coming to 18.
So this could, more or less be a good golf gossip segment. So specifically with Phil, for everyone who doesn't know, he had a 2-shot lead in 2006. Blasted it like off the planet, hit a hospitality tent, punched out, hit in a bunker, chipped on, 2-putted, something like that. Really just pissed away a U.S. Open. But
Oh.
I just lost somebody.
Scaff, lost you, man. Well, point is, Phil lost it. And the reason why that hurts so much is because Phil has 6 second-place finishes in the U.S. Open. 6.
That had to have been his most brutal one, though. Come on.
I totally agree because he had the lead on the 72nd hole. He's sitting on the tee on the last hole of the tournament and loses. Look, he finished second to Payne Stewart at Pinehurst. Look, I mean, that's like one of the all-time golf moments when Payne Stewart holds that finish on 18. Let's see. Who else is he lost to? I think Tiger. I don't know. He lost to Justin Rose at Marion. Like, some guys has just gotten outplayed. And this was a case where he just didn't. Anyway.
There's a huge difference between losing a golf tournament and getting beat in a golf tournament. And he lost that one.
Yes. You know what also famous moment came from 16 at Winged Foot? I believe it was 16. The famous Kevin Kisner moment. This ain't no hobby, boys. But if I'm not mistaken, went down at Winged Foot, an all-time like golf. It's like if there's like a golf dark history, or not dark history. I can't even like a golf tale. That's one of them. Of Kevin Kisner saying this ain't no hobby, boys.
Absolutely.
Oh, such a
My
fight.
back.
T-Bone, you're back.
Hey, T-Bone, welcome back.
I lost it like Phil lost it. Anyways, I'll touch back on this. Someone placed a $45,000 bet, and I think it's over a $3 million payout if Phil wins. So that's pretty cool.
How hammered
Also-
do you have to be to make that bet? You just have to be blackout drunk to bet $45,000 on a guy who's never won the tournament and he's 50 years old now.
Yeah, it's pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
Especially with his, like, it's the U.S. Open. Like, it puts a premium on hitting fairways. And you know Phil's mantra, like, his MO of fairway hitting. Like, it's either he's on it, it's just like, where the hell is that ball going?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody remembers the two driver situation. That should kind of tell you right there. If you have to put two drivers, that means you're not hitting many fairways.
Yep. Gosh.
So.
Yep. One good thing for Phil going this week, he posted this on social media. It was a picture of him at Winged Foot last time he played compared to now, and the dude's lost like 70 pounds. 50 Phil is a new guy. He's cut and fit. Back in 06, he's this fat, lumpy dude wearing a Ford sponsorship yellow polo, just looking fat and hot and not good. So
what do you think the over-under is that he even wears anything remotely yellow for a shirt?
Not a chance.
No chance.
I think he's got a better shot of winning the tournament than that guy winning over $3 million and him wearing yellow again.
Oh.
Yeah,
dude. I just pulled up the picture. It's almost night and day. It's like, who ate Phil Mickelson? Whenever he's looking back.
Listeners, go give it a look. It's quite a sight.
Yes. So it's my understanding that Wingfoot, again, because not many people just don't know about this course. Like, that's why I'm really looking forward to seeing it on TV. I think they have two 18-hole courses out there. They've almost, if I'm not mistaken, have combined a couple of the holes like they did at Royal Melbourne for the President's Cup, how they took a few holes from a couple of the courses, or it's either that or they made one of the other courses a driving range to help fit everybody that's going to be playing in this. But I'm excited to see it. September U.S. Open. It's going to be huge. Guys, who are some – first off, before we give our official picks and long shots, what kind of guys do you like out there? KJ, do you like the bombers? Because you said earlier that you need to put a premium on hitting fairways, and I 100% agree. Wingfoot has small greens out there. So would you put more a premium on hitting fairways or guys who are more known for their short game? Or do you
it's hard because my picks are literally going to contradict themselves. But I just don't like it for a bomber, you know, because you usually when you get the bomber, you tend to have a little bit not quite as precise ball striking. And looking at this course, watching people drop balls on it, it's kind of like the Masters. Like, if you hit in the wrong side of the green, you could have 30 yards left in. You could be, way off. It's definitely – I like a guy more with driving accuracy, putting and chipping. That being said, if you can just get the ball in the fairway, if you're a great ball striker, it's going to be night and day between you and somebody who's hitting that 7-iron, 35 feet when you can, hit the proper level of the green and hold the green and everything. So I think it's more of a ball striker's course than it is a bomber's course. But yeah, everything comes down to putting and chipping, though. Everybody's going to miss. So
that's right. Everybody's going to miss, but hopefully not as bad as Phil. T-Bone, what kind of guy you like out there?
Yeah, so everything I'm kind of looking at is same thing. You're going to have to hit fairways, and you're going to have to get up and down. And if you look at the greens, it's almost like there's 4 greens in every green. Like, they're so segmented that you're either going to have to be really precise in those shots that you do miss. You're going to be begging for 2 putts. So I do kind of favor that, precision, really great short game kind of putting an emphasis on that. But at the same time, I'm sure we're all going to say Dustin Johnson's a good pick for this week. So take what you want with that. But I'm kind of leaning more towards the straight driver of the golf ball, good short game, good putting.
I agree. So let's start off with our official picks, and then let's do long shots, maybe some betting favorites as well, and then who's not going to win. Like who's guaranteed not going to win this week. Scaff, let's mix it up. Let's start with you.
So before we do jump in, one thing that I'm thinking about, I'm just kind of looking at the course and coming up with some things to talk about before we jump into the picks. And one thing that we keep forgetting, that even though it's the U.S. Open, it's so awesome. If you look at the 18th hole at Winged Foot at a past U.S. Open, the gallery and the clubhouse is so awesome. The fact that we don't have that is still so damn disappointing. I look back to the PGA Championship, and when Morikawa hits that drive on 16 to 10 feet or whatever, and we get a few claps, that's so disappointing. But I just wanted to reemphasize how important fans are, especially to a major. Anyways, that really got me kind of heated. Anyways.
Yeah.
So
no, that's a good point, Scaff. I don't really miss the fans, to be honest. Whenever I'm watching a week in and week out of the PGA Tour, I'm sure a lot of the PGA Tour guys would respectfully disagree with that, and I totally understand it. I'm saying from a viewer's perspective, from a above average fan's perspective, I like seeing the golf courses that they're playing every single week, and I feel like I sometimes get a little bit better idea of what golf courses look like on TV when there are no fans. But come major championship golf, you need the fans, especially come Saturday and Sunday.
Especially when you're talking U.S. Open, because these guys, they're going to miss. And the biggest thing about that everybody knows about the U.S. Open is they grow that rough up, bottom of your calf high some places. And you miss 30 yards offline, that grass is all trampled down by crowds from the entire week. So it kind of that takes that out of the play,
Yeah, for sure. And I think I was, if I'm not mistaken, the position I took when they announced the Ryder Cup being canceled, I was a little disappointed. So I'm like, they should still play the Ryder Cup. Now that we've seen a major with no fans, I'm glad they're not playing the Ryder Cup this year, because a Ryder Cup with no fans would be totally different. That wouldn't even no fans, it's going to stink. But at the end of the day, I think having a tournament is way more important than having fans out there. And I'm sure the PGA Tour would agree whenever they see that money coming in, that TV money, even though this is the USGA, but whatever. USGA stinks. All right, Scaff, sorry. Go right ahead.
Okay, so sorry. Am I doing long shots? What am I starting with?
Let's do official pick, long shots, and then who's not going to win.
Okay. So I think we've been talking about a few guys for about the last month or so. And I think a good pick is going to be DJ, JT, and Rahm. So when I kind of narrowed it down, really stepping out on a limb with these guys, but when I narrowed it down, I looked into some things that I think you need to take into account. So one thing that blew my mind is JT has 3 top 10 finishes in majors. 3.
That's it?
Justin Thomas, 3 top 10s in majors.
Huh. That's surprising. Wow.
Very.
Stat T-Bone.
Anytime. I'm doing my research. I'm getting ready to go for this. So because of that, that's going to be a no from me, dog. No JT this week. And then another thing, I'm really not a golf momentum guy. I think there's a point in time where it's going to drop. And DJ's been doing it for so long, it's hard to ride with him. I mean, it's not hard to ride with him, but for me, I'm just looking at it as like it's a matter of time before this drops off. So because of
That's a hot take. I'm not gonna lie. You're just saying like okay, so you don't, because there's some people who just don't believe in sports momentum, period. Are you saying you're one of those guys? Because there's no doubt, especially in golf, whenever you're playing well for a few week time, like when you're on.
Yep. So I agree, but I think he's been doing it for so long. You add in the off week, it just seems like a really long time to really keep that strung together.
Woo! That's a take.
Because of that, I think I'm going to go with Rahmster.
Jon Rahm. Okay.
Jon Rahm's going to be my official pick to win the U.S. Open.
Okay. We'll go around the horn on this. KJ, who's your official?
Well, who's your dark horse there, T-Bone?
I can. Are we waiting, or do you want me to lock and load?
Are we doing them all?
Nah, let's go around the horn. Let's do official picks and then launch.
All right. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing, T-Bone, here. Give you 3 that I like. So DJ, obviously. Webb Simpson and Colin Morikawa are the 3 that I would keep. I think those 3 are going to be right up there. And DJ, I think, is going to be the first one. I hate to agree with T-Bone because he usually, is pretty outlandish with some of his takes. But I agree with him here. I think DJ is he's going to have a rough go. With all the success he's been having, it's hard to roll it over that long. It's exactly right, T-Bone. And 2, just like when he gets off with the driver, he can bomb it past other people. When he gets off with the driver, he's not finding fairways. He's going to be in the rough all day. He's going to have like a 3 of 14 day. And out there, you're going to shoot 80. It's going to happen.
Didn't they at the U.S. Open at the Tour Championship, they had like a counter of how long it's been since DJ hit a fairway.
It was over. It was like
over 2 hours
minutes since DJ hit a damn fairway.
That's brutal. That was just mean.
You can't have that out here. It's not going to happen.
That's true.
So he's out. Morikawa, I love Morikawa. I think he is a complete package player. But I mean, I just got to go with Webby, man. I got to go with Webby. Webb Simpson is going to win the U.S. Open.
Former U.S. Open champ Webb Simpson getting his second major. Man, I love that pick. So I've been looking in the odds for a little bit. And I'm even looking at the World Golf rankings right now. Outside of those 3 guys that T-Bone mentioned, DJ, Rahm, and JT, I don't love anybody. I really don't. There's not anybody who just jumps off the page. It's like, yo, you got to pick him. Because Rory McIlroy, he's got his U.S. Open. And he just became a father. I think his priorities are a little bit different. As a new father, you're not sleeping as much as well. So I just don't necessarily like Rory. I love Morikawa, but I don't know.
You're telling me Rory can't afford a live-in nanny?
I think Rory's going to be a good dad, so he's taking on the responsibilities, especially for his first child. That's what I'm saying.
No baby bounce back?
Do you hear his comment whenever his daughter was born? He said, yeah, they just hand you the baby, but they don't give you an manual with that. Oh, man. By the way, congrats, Rory, on becoming a dad. So, and look, also Rory hasn't won a major since 2014. So, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2014. So, that's I would love to pick Spieth. He's still canceled, unfortunately. And we're big Spieth podcasts. Our listenership knows, but I don't think he doesn't hit enough fairways right now. All that to say, I love the Webb Simpson pick. Morikawa, I don't know. It's so hard to repeat as a major champion back-to-back. That, like, whether it's Brooks Koepka or Tiger Woods, those are like the only guys who can do it. We'll see about Morikawa. I'm going to go Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood. He has shot a 63 in a U.S. Open. So is Johnny Miller, as he used to tell us every single weekend on the broadcast. But I like Tommy, dude. I think his just ball striking is nails. And at the U.S. Open, yeah, you're going to have to make putts. I think he's learned a lot from his Ryder Cup experiences too, that like something's going to go wrong. It's the U.S. Open. When shit hits the fan, who's going to respond? And I think Tommy Fleetwood is going to respond well and respond positively. So I like Tommy Fleetwood for this week.
Well,
Interesting.
right. Yeah.
I also just kind of pulled that out of a hat.
Didn't he just play well overseas last week?
I don't know. Like I pulled that out of a hat, man. I don't know.
He did. It was the something Masters.
I think
he had a pretty good finish. Yep.
It would also be cool, Tommy Fleetwood, and knock on him right now is that he hasn't won on U.S. soil yet. So I think that kind of motivates him to go not only win on U.S. soil, but win our national championship. I hate picking against an American, but I'm going to go Tommy Fleetwood here. Yeah. All right. Who's some long shot guys? First off, long shot guys, I'm sad that Scottie Scheffler's not playing. He had the withdrawal because he tested positive for the coronavirus. Very upsetting. I actually talked to a buddy who was out practicing with him 2 days ago, and he said it was completely asymptomatic. Just a bummer that he tested positive, and those rules and procedures are in place for a reason, so this virus does not spread. So I love Scottie Scheffler. I think he would have been a great pick. Talk about a guy who's in form. That's him. So, yeah. But
absolutely.
Who else you like?
Well, continuing on that, where's Brooks come into play if he's
healthy?
not? No, he's got a hurt knee. That's what's keeping him out. No.
There you go. That sucks.
How would you – I mean, where is Brooks in this conversation if he's playing this week?
Same exact as I would say with DJ. Like
I think I'm picking him as my winner.
He's
been half-assing it the whole year.
No.
Finally got a major. And he's going to be ready to go. But,
I don't see it.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
You know who might not be a bad pick, and I know, KJ, you like this guy, is Daniel Berger.
Oh, Biggie.
Took the words out of my mouth, damn it.
Well, look, when I go last on the picks and y'all take one of the guys I'm about to pick, it kind of puts me in a spot. So I figured I'd jump the gun.
Let me tell you why Daniel Berger's a good pick.
Okay.
I'll lead us off. The man's been playing great. He's won.
All right. Well,
we lost T-Bone again. The look he gave us was ridiculous. I think
here's my issue with Daniel Berger and really DJ as well. When you are playing in long rough, a lot of people don't think about this. Look how bowed they are at the top. Yeah. What does hitting 6 inches of rough at full speed do to a human's wrist? That just scares me in general for 4 days in a row. That just takes one, And
that is very true.
That worries me. That worries me.
No, I agree. And between that and Berger has had some injuries in the past before. So, yeah, that kind of stinks. Hold on. I'm going to text Scaff. Okay. I still can't hear Scaff. But, no, I agree. You know who's actually playing decent? And he's actually got some decent odds to him. He's at 33-1 is Jason Day. Jason Day has been playing pretty good since the restart, I would say. People are going to talk a lot about Bryson. I don't know if he's necessarily worth bringing up. Obviously he's a classic bomber right now, but
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, ever since he won the Rocket Mortgage, it's like, nah, he hasn't really showed up. Tiger Woods, this is last time we played Winged Foot. It was the first tournament after his dad passed away. And so he missed the cut, but then he won 2 majors right after that. I don't love Tiger this week either. I mean, we love Tiger, but just worth noting, I don't think he's a betting favorite for this one. And I'm not picking him, unfortunately.
Am I back?
You're back.
Hey, T-Bone.
I like Kevin Kisner's long shot, B-Dub. We got 4.
That's my long shot. You can't still kiss.
Oh, he's your guy?
So let me finish with Berger.
Oh.
The guy's been playing great. I heard all the wrist injury stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good point. But the man's not playing in the Masters. He's going to win this week, and he's going to get in the Masters. He's due. The fact that you have,
the Masters.
He's on the
I
Masters.
have no idea. No,
What?
he's not playing in the Masters. The man's been disrespected. He's due. He's been playing great all year. I think he's going to have a good finish and could be a good pick.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hate to say it too. I think we're just kind of going rapid fire at this point. Hate to say it. Captain America.
Nah.
Spoiler
Actually, yeah,
alert. That's who Reid Fowler picked was Patrick Reed.
That's who I think he's going to be a better pick than any of the guys we just talked about.
I can see that son of a bitch having a 2-shot lead and getting up and down all over the course and ruining my Sunday.
Well, ruining, just think about it. Fuck, COVID, everything's canceled. 2020, your U.S. Open champion, Patrick Reed. I could just see it. I mean, everything else 2020 has been Patrick Reed winning a U.S. Open-esque.
That was my take for the PGA Championship. I was saying it was going to be something. Actually, I can't remember if I was saying it was going to be anticlimactic or something really bad.
Yeah, you said it was going to be a no-namer that's going to hop up there.
Okay. So I guess Morikawa wasn't necessarily a no-namer, but yes, I could see it. But honestly, if we really want to ruin 2020, let's save P. Reed for the Masters.
Oh,
oh God. Or just any of them.
Yeah.
Any of them. Also, I like Abraham Answer at a long shot. He's at 100 to 1.
That's good.
At the moment. But
he's what is he at?
100 to 1.
Okay.
So that's according to DraftKings. And I think Xander Schauffele's going to do well this week. I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he's going to finish top 10. So if you're looking for a top 10 bet, I like Mr. Schauffele for that one. I just think his game is phenomenal across the board. So, or Patrick Cantlay. I think Patrick Cantlay, he's not.
We didn't mention Cantlay.
Yeah, he's not in good form, I would say, but he's one of those guys is that when the golf courses get tough, he steps up and plays well. While everybody else comes back, he plays well. So, fellas, we're coming down the stretch here. I'm
going to make this one quick. People who aren't winning, I'll make this easy. I'll wipe out half the field. If you're an amateur, if you're over 40, if you don't consistently play on the PGA Tour, see ya. Pack up on Friday. Cole Hammer, get lost.
Wow. Cole Hammer's the man.
John, I know. It's not going to happen.
Such an unnecessary shot.
Phil, you're not winning. You're over 40 or 50, actually. I mean, let's be real. You can wipe out half the field. Any of these local qualifiers, I hate to say it's not going to happen.
They didn't have local qualifiers this year because of the coronavirus, dummy.
Okay, so then they're definitely not winning. It's not like, come on.
All right.
So you're saying there's about 30 guys total that can win it?
Probably.
All right.
Like Sergio Garcia? Yeah, right.
Man. Well, I'm not sure how much time we got left.
Come into 6-inch rough. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Sergio's going to go ape shit on some sand again like he did in Dubai.
Yeah.
So
take us home, Scotty.
Yep, that's all we got for us. Official picks, predictions, comment below. Send us an email, shoot us a DM on what you think, who's going to win this week. U.S. Open Championship Golf is back. Stay tuned for the Reid Fowler interview, which is coming up here in just a second. It's awesome. Go check out DraftKings. Go check out Reid. He's the man. Great conversation. Again, tells an all-time story, so stay tuned for that. I'm Scott for T-Bone. KJ, welcome to the U.S. Open. And remember,
little white ball's life.
Okay, we are joined now by, I would say, a very special guest. We have a person who's very much in the know, not only about the golf scene, but about the golf gambling scene, because it is officially a major championship week. We are joined now by Reid Fowler of DraftKings. Reid, how's it going?
Good. I know we were talking earlier before we started recording that it's weird to be talking about a major tournament during the football season, but here we are. Winged Foot is going to be fun. I've actually had experience being at Winged Foot. I was at the 2006 U.S. Open. I have an interesting story maybe we can get to at the end. But I also played there last year in a charity golf tournament. I don't think it was the same course, but the grounds, it's set. It's set for a major tournament. The clubhouse is beautiful. Jeff Ogilvy has mentioned it in some of the interviews that this is just set up for a major, and it's one of the best.
No doubt. And I think whenever people list U.S. Open venues, they always think of Oakmont. They always think of Shinnecock, even Pebble Beach. Winged Foot, I would say, is definitely in that category. But we even know more about those other types of courses, especially Pebble. But not many people know as much about Winged Foot outside of the famous Phil Mickelson 4 left shot he hit on 18 there. So it's almost like this mystique thing that it's. So I love to hear more about Winged Foot and even the grounds. Have they made any adjustments to the course going into the championship week this week?
Yeah, so they've done some renovations to the course in terms of lengthening some tee boxes, like they need more length at Winged Foot, right? So they've moved some of the tee boxes back, and we all know, right? We're all on Twitter. We see all of it. Would it be a major, especially a U.S. Open, if we don't see how a ball goes into the rough and how deep it is?
Give me all those videos, all the
Right,
videos.
exactly. And so we know that there's going to be some more distance right off the tee. And if you just look at the official scorecard, I mean, this front nine is just brutal. Like the first 5 or 6 holes are absolutely brutal. We've heard some guys saying, right, that Phil, I think he was playing Memorial, was going to lay up on a par 3, and some guys are actually saying that now. And it's not out of the realm of reality to think that some of these guys have to potentially lay up on the par 3s. But like Winged Foot has 2 courses, right? And so a lot of the guys say that. And especially in that interview that I was listening, and I forget what outlet it was on with Jeff Ogilvy, he was mentioning that the other course sets up perfectly for a driving range. The clubhouse is great. The average green size at the U.S. Open is 6,600 square feet, so it's around average. It's actually a little bit smaller, but you have 76 bunkers, only one water hazard. That's a stream that meanders through a couple of holes. That's on 15 and 16. But the rough in some areas, you get 3.5 inches to 5 inches. So it's going to be a tough test. We don't see a huge number of triple bogeys, double bogeys. But if these guys hit it in the rough, they're going to have to, especially the shorter hitters, they're going to have to hit it back into the fairway, have about 150 yards to get up and down, hopefully for par, right, as opposed to birdie. So that's going to be the tough test to see who, like, over distance, I would really prioritize accuracy, because if you get into the rough, it's almost pretty much an auto bogey if you're not one of the best at putting from 10 to 15 feet.
I don't know about you, Reid, but I feel like if I get in rough that's even more than a half an inch or an inch, I tend to struggle with it. So when I hear 3-5 inches, of course, give me all those videos, as I said earlier, about people dropping balls, they're disappearing. But at the end of the day, this is the U.S. Open. Their mantra is the toughest test in golf. Now, I don't have much love for the USGA. For our listenership out there and for our new listeners, it's pretty well documented at this point. I think they've made steps in the right direction, getting Jason Gorin involved and whatnot, but I'll table that conversation for a little bit. But at the end of the day, again, it's supposed to be tough. And even seeing those pros struggle like us amateurs do, it's kind of fun. So whenever I hear that, hey, guys might need to lay up to 50 yards in order to just even knock it back in the fairway, that's what we want in the U.S. Open. So you're liking somebody who are you liking more of the bombers for this week, or are you liking more of somebody who's a little bit more accurate off the tee? And obviously, you got to be a great iron player.
Yeah, so we've seen Winged Foot play in 5 other iterations of the U.S. Open. We've known that the last one in 2006, like you mentioned, Scott, is that Phil Mickelson is a headliner there, right? But Jeff Ogilvy, if you look at both of those guys, they ranked, I believe, inside the top 55 in driving distance at the end of that season. But if you look at the other top 15 in the of 2006, you saw Ian Poulter there, Steve Stricker was there, Mike Weir, Sluman, right? These guys they're not bombers, right? They're guys who are extremely or have been accurate off the tee at some point in their careers, or we think about accuracy with those players over distance. And proximity wise, you looked at Poulter and some of these guys inside the top 50, and Furyk, another guy that was inside the top 10, 15 at that 2006 edition of the U.S. Open at Winged Foot. Last time we saw it there, he was top 5 in proximity, and he's not a bomber off the tee, right? So guys like Kevin Na, for instance, who I really like, who fills out the stat sheet of all the key statistics that I think you need to have at Winged Foot, is someone that you could say, yeah, well, like Kevin Na, who performs well. He has the grit. He has a guy who can potentially put 4 rounds together and not blow up. But when you don't have distance, when you don't have an inkling of distance, I think it hurts you a little bit. Now, having said that, I'm leaning more towards accuracy over distance. The U.S. Opens have always catered towards the extreme ball strikers, right? We hear that all the time.
Right.
Get a guy who is an elite ball striker on every course, and of course they're going to do well. This is the one time where I think that accuracy, like we mentioned earlier about hitting it out of the rough, is going to reign supreme. So the Brendan Todds, for instance, have a shot at this course because he's number one since the restart in fairways gained over the field. Dustin Johnson, Jon Rahm, of course, you want to get the guy who hits it far and gets into the middle of the fairway. And we'll talk about some guys who I think down the betting board that have that skill set. But more so than not, I'm going to lean accuracy over distance here.
Okay. Yeah, it's so hard because the Bombers, you always can't count them out. I feel like if I have to kind of put a recent major championship in perspective, I would consider the 2019 PGA over at Bethpage. Now, I know the PGA is kind of this identity crisis, if you will. People keep saying that, but the way they set up Bethpage Black that year was very similar to a U.S. Open, and of course, we saw Brooks Koepka and DJ up in the mix. But then you also got Jordan Spieth, who his struggles have been well documented in the last few years. That he was able to have a top 5 finish up there. So I totally agree with you there. If guys like Spieth can straighten it out for just a little bit off the tee, then I would love to pick Spieth this week, but unfortunately, I just don't think I can in any of my pools because we're a big Spieth podcast.
Oh, good. He needs all the love, man. He needs all the love out there right now.
Hey, I believe in Spieth, but when you got, it's always easy to compare. Hovland, Morikawa, Wolf,
Sure.
JT, Spieth. I got to go JT at least in that regard for right now, but. No, I love it. I agree. So I guess, Reid, tell me more about that course. Well, even before our picks, what's that story about that you have at the 2006 U.S. Open? I've been on pins and needles about that since we started recording.
We'll get to it early.
Let's get to it early.
It's like if we're a sitcom in the early, like the 90s, 2000s, we're going to hit you with the high note in the middle of the season. The apex of the season one. But look,
right.
2006, I had these thoughts of grandeur that I was going to be a PGA professional. So not a player, but a coach, right? So someone who teaches golf. I've been playing golf all my life.
Right.
And watching it, I was one of those weird kids who would watch golf throughout the entirety of a Sunday on 4.5, 5 hours, whatever it was, and then actually go play. So I was born and raised in Hawaii. And so the golf tournaments, they'd air like early in the morning, right? 7 o'clock, 7:30, and then they'd be done by 12:30, 1 o'clock. So you could easily watch tournament and then hit the course for 18. So I had these thoughts of being that, and met someone, and I forget how we met them, through family, friends, whatever it may be. But he was a strength and conditioning coach for the Australian golfers. So Adam Scott, Jeff Ogilvy, Stuart Appleby, Robert Allenby, all of those players, along with some other guys like KJ Choi. And so 2006, I had a chance to head to Wingfoot to practice with them, to practice with the swing coach, get my strength and conditioning down. So I made the flight up, and that's the year that Jeff Ogilvy won, right? So for me, and I was on the 72nd, so I was on the 18th hole on the backside of that green when Phil Mickelson hit his ball into the hospitality suite. And then I ran back to where we were all watching, essentially. So all like Jeff Ogilvy guys. And I forget if he was there, but I think he was in the locker room, so I don't think I was with him. But we ended up watching that and him winning. And then that night, and I have a picture. And so if any of you guys don't believe me, I have photo documentation.
Picture didn't happen.
Night, yeah, exactly. This is before iPhones came out, right? Or were popular. That night we all went out, and Adam Scott, I believe, left the grounds. I think it was a private jet. I'm sure it was, because Adam Scott. Why wouldn't it be? He left the grounds, and I don't know how he got word, but he turned around and he came back because Jeff Ogilvy won. We all went out, and I had a chance to hold the U.S. Open trophy, drink, because I was of age at that point, champagne or whatever it was out of the U.S. Open trophy. And I have a picture of me holding it with Jeff Ogilvy and Adam Scott flanked on my side. And it was the single greatest moment of my life where I didn't touch a golf club. I didn't that night. I wasn't playing. It wasn't anything. It was hanging out with those guys. And I was told that I could come to 100 of these tournaments, majors, that is, and this wouldn't happen. And so it was the first major that I ever saw, viewed, or was a part of, and I got a chance to celebrate in the glory that was 2006 U.S. Open champion Jeff Ogilvy.
Yep, that's a really incredible story. Holy cow! I mean, yes, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Goodness gracious, that's so cool. That's so cool. So I guess even having that experience, how does the U.S. Open stack, in your opinion, compared to the other majors?
Yeah, I mean, the Masters, the Masters means so much more than just a golf tournament, to me at least, right? It's
definitely.
If you live any place that has 4 seasons, it is the signifier of, right, the warmer weather, right? That's kind of what when you hear that music, when you hear Jim Nantz say hello friends, when you see those promos where you come down Magnolia Lane, it's much more than just, to me, a golf tournament, right? It's the legacy, it's the pomp and circumstance around the Masters, and just how many storylines that we get, how beautiful and pristine the course looks on TV. I know sometimes they infuse maybe a higher color density in their picture, or they put bird sounds, whatever the case may be, they're doing the right thing. And it's the signifier of major golf season. I know this year is completely different, but the Masters is number one for me. And then, because of that story, the U.S. Open is number 2. How it's also at the tail end of Father's Day, or right, like Sunday ends up on Father's Day, and all the storylines that you see with that. It's just, everything is great. I would love at some point to go to the Open Championship, especially at the old course, and some of these the legacy behind that. But it goes Masters and then U.S. Open for me.
I agree, and I think at least most Americans would agree with that. You talk to our friends over across the pond, they might disagree with you. Obviously, very biased towards the Open Championship. You can't say the British Open, the Open Championship, right? So, no, I agree. I really do. And one thing I've noticed, because I was actually on the DraftKings site earlier this morning, and I love it because they show the past winners, going all the way back to 2010 when Graham McDowell won. And even just looking at the scores, Gary Woodland had an incredible U.S. Open, breaking Tiger Woods' record at Pebble Beach last year at minus 13. Yeah. But then Brooks Koepka won at Shinnecock at plus 1. But then he won at minus 16 the year before. It just seems like every other year for the past few years, it's been minus a low number and then over par wins, like Justin Rose or Webb Simpson at Marion and Olympic. How do you expect Winged Foot to play this year? Is it going to follow that pattern? Would you expect to see an over par score?
I would. I mean, you might get one of these heaters that Jon Rahm or DJ have, right? Or even Justin Thomas, for that matter. Is that any one of those 3 guys can, when their game is hot, and I would say before Rory, like Rory at his peak was the best golfer, but we've seen it, right? We've seen Dustin Johnson on hard and difficult courses. We saw it at Olympic Fields to an extent, that at the BMW Championship, where he looked like the guy that no one could be, like what he was doing at TPC Boston, where he's just lapsing the field. And so we could get that where DJ might finish at -2 or -3. But I mean, look at the last iterations of Winged Foot too. I mean, like we got that -4, I believe, in '84, but before that it was +7 to Massacre at Winged Foot when Hale Irwin won at +7, Ogilvy won at +5, and when you look at a U.S. Open too, this is what, like you're mentioning, they don't want the -13 to win a U.S. Open. That's just not what they want.
I don't think anybody wants that, the fans or the USGA.
Sure, like the fans, golf is such a unique sport that when you watch it on TV, and my fiance was she says this, time and time again because now she's much more into golf than she was before because of me. But she was like, it looks so easy on TV. I could do that, right? That was her favorite thing to say before. And so the golfers, they make it look so easy. And when they get a tough test at golf, it kind of brings these quote unquote superheroes in sports, right? Because clearly there's many other people that are I would deem superheroes outside of professional golfers, but it brings them back down to earth a little bit. It brings them down to the terrestrial level of you and I and some other amateurs. Like, yeah, when you get into the rough, that's not 5 inches thick. That's just regular rough. It's extremely hard for us. And so that's an aspect of it. And it's always been a tough test, right? It's always been a tough test. And that's kind of what all of us want to see.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I really do. So that being said, let's go with some official picks and predictions. Obviously, it's so hard to pick golf tournaments. Like, if I get one tournament a year, correct, I'm feeling good about myself. Like, I think last year I picked Rory to win the Players in 2019, and I'm still hanging my hat on that one. But, so who do you like? Some official picks, or even on DraftKings, can you set lineups?
Mm-hmm.
And also some long shots who you think might make some noise?
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to go against the top guys in DJ, JT, and Jon Rahm, right? It's really hard. But with golf, which is why golf, betting on golf is fun, is because you get some of these odds that you don't see anywhere else, right? Xander Schauffele at what his numbers are at right now, which is we can spend an entire episode talking about how Xander Schauffele is more of a betting favorite than Collin Morikawa, but I digress.
Right.
When you're looking at golf betting, it's so much of it is value based, right? And like who's in current form. And what I mean by that is I rarely bet the top guys, even though they're the favorites. A guy like Collin Morikawa, for instance, started at plus 2,800 earlier, right? The U.S. major or the U.S. Open for the majors, the odds have been out for a long time. So a lot of people you hear will have betting slips on guys like Patrick Reed at like 80-1 or plus 8,000, right? But now because of us being closer and how Patrick Reed has done since then, it's been a lot shorter than that at plus 3,300. So when we look at the odds right now, so much of it is value. So if you got those cards way back when at the earlier of the year, maybe back during the holidays, December, January, you have some really good cards that you're excited about, really good numbers on guys that are going to potentially play well. My favorite right now, outside of these top guys, is Patrick Reed at plus 3,300, 33-1, wherever you have them.
Wow.
But on DraftKings, on DraftKings Sportsbook, plus 3,300, Patrick Reed. And the reason why, too, and I'll get to one more guy after this, is four rounds, and we talked about it earlier, right, with how this course is going to set up. You're going to need 4 rounds where you're going to face some adversity, not if, but when. When your tee shot goes into the rough, when you hit one of these 76 bunkers, when you have a par putt that's 15 feet and faster than snot, because on the stimp meter, it's like 13 plus. So it's extremely fast. You're going to need someone between the ears that can bounce back and maybe save bogey instead of double or triple bogey, right? That's the guy that I want for 4 days straight. And that, to me, is Patrick Reed. We saw that in 2018. He's a major winner, so he has winning equity. But he's gained strokes off the tee, I believe, in his last 7 straight, I believe, or 6 or 7 straight. So when you talk about, again, someone that maybe outside of the top players, it's someone like Patrick Reed. Yeah, 7 straight, dating back all the way to the Memorial Championship. He's gained strokes off the tee. We know that he's one of the best putters on tour when he gets hot. And look at the difficult courses that we've played since the restart. Memorial, probably one of the tougher tests. He finished 10th. He did finish 40th at the BMW at Olympia Fields. But again, when you have a guy who's hitting it well off the tee, we know that he can putt when he gets that putter going. That's someone that I'm really interested in. And on a par 70, where we have an abundance of par 4s over the par 3s, par 5s, he ranked 7th since the restart in strokes gained par 4. And that's someone, again, at 33-1, that gives me value plus winning equity, winning upside. And the other guy really quickly that I want to mention is Bryson DeChambeau. And the reason why I want to mention him is, he is someone that has not got his iron straight. He's extremely volatile with the putter. He'll gain 5 strokes, lose 6 strokes, then gain 4 strokes the next tournament. So he is extremely volatile. But where you see a guy like Bryson win is on these traditional golf courses. And if there's one person that is going to try and figure out what's ailing him and how to attack a golf course the best way that he can, it's Bryson DeChambeau. And last month, he was, I believe, at 8-1 to win this golf tournament. Right now, he's at 28 or plus 2,800 to win. And so his odds have increased substantially in just over a month. So again, trying to sift that value. I think Bryson, if he can get something working with his fairways, like hitting those fairways, we know the distance is there. He's 7th in putts from that 10 to 15th range. 10 to 15 foot range. He ranks 7th. Those are some of the guys at the top that I like for value. If it's not one of the top guys like JT, Rahm, or DJ, they're going to just run away with it.
Right. Yeah, Bryson is. I feel like he's almost like Rahm can be such a basket case sometimes, and you never know which one you're going to get. If you get good Bryson or good Rahm, like those guys, it's the age-old question of, hey, if everybody's on their A game, who you got? And it's hard when everybody's on their A game, but like those, all of them are so good. It's just who has the best week, I guess. But Bryson, I didn't realize it was 8-1 recently because I think he won. I believe it was up in Minnesota, maybe the 3M Open, somewhere up there. So obviously struggled recently. So I like that. I think that's a really good value pick. How would you rate somebody maybe who's a little bit longer shot, like a Kevin Kisner 90-1 or Abraham Ancer?
Yeah, so Kiz is one of the guys that I really liked. I took a long look at. And yeah, with Bryson, he won the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit back in July, and then he came 4th at the PGA at Harding Park, and so he couldn't get anything going up and down. He couldn't make any putts. He still gained 5 strokes putting. Bryson did, and that's when we really saw his odds, plummet down to 8-1 plus 800. Now he's back up to 28. So, but Kiz is someone that I took, like I said, took a long look at plus 9,000. The reason being is he's a guy that just hits fairways, man. He hits fairways. He can putt extremely well. He's playing fantastic golf. I mean, talk about a guy who's, I think he's 7th in strokes gained total since the WGC St. Jude, FedEx St. Jude Invitational. So he's a guy that's been playing extremely well. The one thing that, again, when I look at betting outrights, right, because I don't care if someone comes in second. I want the guy who's going to win. Right. Like coming in second for my betting outrights is like coming in last place or missing the cut. So I'm not too concerned about that. The one thing that when I'm looking at long shots is, well, who else is around him, right, in that betting market? And is he someone that is like a plus EV, or is someone who can outperform where his odds are at compared to the other guys around him? And the answer right now for me is no. I love Kisner on DraftKings, so he'll be in my DraftKings lineups. But looking at a guy like Gary Woodland, plus 8,500, his game has not been anywhere close to where it should be. He's a former winner at plus 8,500. We've seen that before the U.S. Open, where a guy can go back-to-back. Look, Pebble Beach is going to play extremely different. But another guy right next to Kevin Kisner that I really, really like for this tournament is Matthew Wolff. Matty Wolff at plus 8,000, so 80-1. He is someone that we talked about earlier, right? That how can you find someone who's can be extremely accurate off the tee and have that distance? Well, we know that the distance is he has it in spades. But Wolff since the restart has been one of the more accurate drivers of the ball. If he can just make sure that he can make those putts, man, if he can just get that putter going, like he's 4th in driving distance since the restart and 36th in fairways gained. So at his number at 80-1, I'm not losing much over Kevin Kisner. Give me that guy because he's also getting it close, man. He's at proximity from 175 to 200. He's 17th, opportunities gained. So essentially a proximity metric and opportunities gained. He's 2nd in the field. So this guy Wolff is playing extremely well. And we started to always think about, well, like a young player, how's he going to fare in a major tournament? Well, Colin Morikawa just won. We've seen Scotty Scheffler compete. And you and I, again, were talking about Scotty Scheffler not being in the field. And that one really hurt because you and I both liked Scotty Scheffler coming into this tournament.
Definitely.
But Yeah, but give me a guy like Matty Wolff at plus 8,000 in that range, and one of my favorite long, if you call him a long shot, because I got one more deep sleeper.
Let's hear it.
But Matty Wolff is one, and then EVR, Eric Van Rooyen,
Wow.
160, yeah, plus 16,000 on DraftKings Sportsbook, 160 to 1. He's another guy, man. He's another guy that, like, he missed the cut at the Safeway Open. That's not great. It's not great, Bob. Not, like, it's like, that's not a good, when you're talking about, well, guys that you don't want to be missing cuts. Right, Scott? Like, the Safeway Open is not something that you want to see. But if you also take a look at EVR, it kind of seems like he plays these really, like, these difficult tournaments better than he plays the easier ones. I mean, he was chalk, I believe, at the 3M Open because everyone thought he was coming back right to a place that he played his college ball at in Minnesota. But then he ended up missing the cut at the 3M Open, but then comes back at the St. Jude, gets you a top 20. He had a top 22 at the Memorial. He was third at the WGC Mexico earlier this season. He's got already 2 top 20s in the Open Championship, a top 8 at the PGA, and another guy that in his last 5 tournaments has gained strokes off the tee. So that's someone that I'm looking at. So maybe, again, 160 or plus 16,000. He's a long shot because of that. But we talked about Bethpage back, like at the PGA Championship at Bethpage. Like, that's where he finished 8th in 2019 at the PGA Championship. So I like EVR to maybe, again, if you want to do to get him to win plus top 5 bet to ensure that, or a top 10 bet, I completely agree with that. Top 20 if you're not as bullish as I am on EVR, but he's one of my favorite sleepers of the week.
It was the PGA, I think, where his joggers really became famous, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, love the joggers.
Yes, we always have a fashion corner segment where one of our guys talks fashion, and so he was all over the joggers. But, that's really interesting you say that, because some guys just play better on tougher courses. There's just something about it. When it's not a birdie fest out there, guys, in my opinion, a guy like that is Patrick Cantlay. He always just seems to play better on the harder courses. And so he's not necessarily informed, though, because what you're saying about being informed is a very good point. And DJ, even though he is the betting favorite at the moment, there's a reason for that, because he looks very much like 2017 DJ, where he just can't lose anytime he tees it up. But so official pick, Reid, who you got winning for the U.S. Open at Winged Foot?
Yeah, give me Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed at plus 3,300. If there's going to be someone that takes down the Titans up at the top there in JT, Rahm, and DJ, I'll go a little, a lot of people are going to pick one of those top 3 guys, and rightfully so. They're playing fantastic golf. But give me Patrick Reed as a, I wouldn't call him a sleeper. I would call him someone that is on that second tier number there. And it's someone that could probably perform, or at least be in contention come on Sunday. Because that's what you want, right? You want a card, and you want someone an outright that you got on Sunday so you can sweat it out the entire day.
No doubt. Also, I think somebody who could make some noise is Daniel Berger. I think Berger, he's playing some really good golf, won the first tournament back, restart. He's been in the mix over at the PGA, and I think people forget that Matthew Wolff even made a run at the PGA on Sunday. So the fact that Hovland is a more betting favorite than Wolff at the moment is kind of surprising to me, but that's why I like that Matthew Wolff pick. So, Reid, I think we're out of time, unfortunately, but this has been so awesome. I get questions and picks all the time, or like, hey, who should I pick for my lineup or whatnot? I'm going to tell everybody to go check out DraftKings and go check out this episode that you are on right now.
Yeah.
So, Reid, where can the good people listening find you, follow you on social media, as well as play some picks for the U.S. Open this week?
Yeah, so my Twitter handle is Reid T. Fowler. Pretty creative. It's just my name. So and that's spelled REID. So that's where you can find me on Twitter. And like you mentioned, all of my articles go up on DK Nation. So DraftKings, that's our editorial side of it, where everything from even football. So I'm even doing football articles as well, because we're in full swing in the NFL after week 1. But PGA is my first love. It's the one that I love the most. And then also on the Action Network, Golf Bet, we'll be doing an article as well. But you can find all of that stuff obviously on Twitter at Reid T. Fowler.
Perfect. Everybody, Go check them out. Reid, we got to get you back for the Masters. I feel like whenever we talk about the Masters for like that 30 seconds, I got really excited again. Fall Masters this year is going to be great. We'd love to get you back on come November.
Absolutely.
Hey, fantastic. Well, thanks a lot, Reid, for joining us. Everybody go check out Reid on social media and DraftKings, and we hope you enjoy this fall edition of the U.S. Open.